go. Hi, everybody, it's Sandy and AnaLynne here, and today we're with our fantastic guest, Gary Sohmers. Hi, Gary.
Aloha.
Aloha, Gary. It's so nice to see you.
Nice to see you again.
It's so wonderful to finally have you here on my show.
Well, it was nice to have you on my show also.
Hey, that's true. Oh my God. Hey, that's wild.
I did it first. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's true. Oh my God, that's so funny. All right, AnaLynne is going to ask you the very first question. Of course, I'm supposed to let her ask all the questions, but it doesn't ever quite work out like that. So, Gary.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Yeah, Gary, when did music first enter your life? Tell us all about it.
Are you my therapist now? Is this the okay? So I guess I've always been surrounded by music. When I was little, my parents loved music, used to listen to musicals and to country music and to popular music and Yiddish music. So I was surrounded by music a lot when I was little, and the first song I remember clearly was a song that I heard from at a carnival at the ocean. It was by the sea, by the sea, by the glorious sea, you and me, oh how happy we'll be. But it was just one of those kind of things that it just stuck in me. And so as we were living in Texas when I was a child. We moved to New Orleans, where New Orleans was all music. And so I was kind of influenced by New Orleans music. And then still as a child moved to Nashville, where country music was happening. And so I kind of grew into that. And then we moved to Philadelphia when American Bandstand was coming out of Philadelphia. And so I got to hear and be experiencing all that kind of music. And then when we were like, I think I was 12, moved to New York when the Beatles came to America. So I got influenced by all that, and then moved to Chicago, where I found the blues, and rock and roll was sort of my whole life after that.
Wow, that is a lot. I mean, that's crazy. One of my questions was, how did you develop such a wide variety? Now I know. That's insanity.
Well,
Um,
anybody can get that. All you have to do is open your mind and listen to everything, and then you choose what makes you happy. And music's only supposed to make you happy, and maybe some of it's supposed to make you sad, but you're supposed to be happy that you're sad at that moment because the music made you that way. There you are.
isn't that wild though? That's exactly the way it feels.
And feeling is, music is emotional, both in the creating of it and the absorption of it. So anybody lucky enough to be able to create music, and that's a luck, really. You everybody can. It's just you have to be lucky in order to do it, because you have to have nurturing, you have to have some lessons, you have to have some persistence of vision, and then you actually create something. And so you must be emotionally involved to go through all that aggravation.
All that aggravation. That's so funny. It's true. Wow.
See, I can tell you because you've been through the aggravation and the enjoyment of the frustration, which, once you overcome that, then all music is good, unless it's really sucky, and so, and it's hard to be really bad, musically. But there is some, I've heard it, except that you don't have to pander to music that you don't like, because you just change the channel. You just move on, find something else.
Have
And
respect for the garbage.
yes, exactly. I mean, most people, what is it? They say that YouTube has like 1 million new songs added every day or something. It's crazy between Spotify and YouTube and everybody out there creating. They all you gotta do is put a bunch of beats down and then make noise over it, and now you have a song, and you can upload that and get feedback. Um, I prefer to use my guitar to get feedback on my amplifier, because it's the same thing.
Oh my God, I love that.
Just noise.
Why get feedback from people on the internet when you can get it from your amp?
That's right. And it takes more skill to get it from your amp because it takes no skill at all to get feedback from anonymous people. If they're
Yeah.
people, if they're not bots, who knows?
Isn't that scary? Isn't this world we live in scary? Like, you have no idea who you're talking to. Ever.
Uh, my eyes are up here, yeah, it's like you're talking to a human. I'm talking to AnaLynne, and so I don't even know if that's AI or if that's real. Uh, and I wouldn't know because I'm old, and old people would never be able to tell the difference between the one who's talking and the one who's not. I'm talking to you, lady.
I'm talking now. I was just talking a moment. I control her, obviously.
Obviously.
That's the way it is.
And I'm okay with that. You're a good manipulator.
So many jokes. Okay. Um,
Exactly.
when did you start playing the guitar? Tell us all about it.
Am I talking to you again now? Okay.
Well, you're always talking to her.
I know. So I started playing guitar, I think, when I saw the Beatles, but I was more a Bob Dylan guy. So I think I started with folk songs, and in '64, the Beatles kind of influenced everybody. Yes, you can be famous, you can play guitar, even though I knew guitar players from the country genre and the folk genre in 61, 62, 63. I mean, the first record I bought in 1960 was The Battle of New Orleans by Johnny Horton, which is like a country song and very popular and about the war. Again, what weird that it was. So I kind of fell into that musically, that kind of folky country sound and feel, and I really embraced Bob Dylan and the early rock and roll stuff that was being played on the radio at that time.
Okay, that is so much fun. I love every little bit of that. I'm dying to know what your favorite Bob Dylan song is. Are you able to pick one?
Gosh, don't think twice. It's all right.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so exciting to talk to someone who loves Bob Dylan. It's so
Oh
hard to
yeah.
meet people like that.
Well, I think it was because of his ability to tell a story in a song. And
He's
I
really a storyteller.
correct. And being a songwriter is part of telling a story. So I kind of was learned a lot about Broadway musicals and Gilbert and Sullivan from my father, who constantly listened to Gilbert and Sullivan and Broadway musicals. So they were telling stories and songs, and it was sing-songy. It wasn't, like chorus, verse, bridge, chorus, verse, ending. It was a sing-songy, storytelling, musical experience of, what did you get out of that? Well, I think I got something, but somebody else got something else because that story is just kind of rambling. So Bob Dylan was the same way. His storytelling was you had to listen to it many times to figure out what the heck he was talking about.
Right.
And once you figure it out, you're still not sure because somebody else hears something different in it and he may have meant something else, but he's not telling us until he gets older. And then of course by then I'm already old too, so I could have put many different variations on it. So I think Dylan gave me the opportunity to think outside of the song status of what was popular. The Beatles, really. The 3 minute, 3.5 minute songs were great, but they didn't tell stories except for how to fall in love and get your heart broken, how to go through all these traditional life cycles of love and happiness and peace. Not even peace and love yet. It was more like, get the girl, girl gets you, you all get each other. Oh, she's gone for another boy, and then she's back again. So it was like, but when Rubber Soul came out, it was going in the direction of Dylan. So Rubber Soul was kind of, um, that changing point where it kind of all merged. Simon and Garfunkel were out there, and there were so many of these storytellers that were kind of conveying that popular music doesn't necessarily have to be 3.5 minutes of chorus, verse, chorus, verse. So I that sort of took me, and I went in that direction. So I was kind of merging a bunch of weirdness all together with Gilbert and Sullivan and Broadway shows and Dylan and the Beatles, and then the Monkees came along, and became totally. Oh yeah, well, the Monkees were very influential on me, just in that their commercial music and their style of television changed me. That's what I wanted to do. I want to do television. I mean, why would I want to just do anything else? I mean, being on television and being able to be like those guys, but in real life was, an aspiration, and I achieved it. Look at me. What do you? I'm a regular cartoon character. But that was sort of a good progression before I hit psychedelia. So
I have so many different questions. Could you elaborate on what you mean by like you wanted to be like the Monkees? Like tell me, television, everything.
think about it. If you're 14 years old, and here are some guys that are about 18 or 19 years old, and they're writing this show and these stupid scripts and this hysterical which was just like a cartoon, but in real life, it was like a real life cartoon. And I love cartoons. Who doesn't? And so it was sort of like, wow, how can I be a real life cartoon? Ta-da! But anyway, that was a total fabrication in my head that anybody could go ahead and do that. And what's funny these days is, I was totally into television, watching Batman and Lost in Space and the Monkees and Star Trek and all these shows. I grew up on them. I lived it, and always thought, well, I'm a child star, just like my friends who were on TV. And eventually I became friends with all my child star friends. And, with having a career in television, eventually I got on TV for 13 seasons. But before that, I was producing big events where I had the Lost in Space cast all together, and the Munsters cast, and the Wonka Kids. And I was just kind of hanging out with all these people that I always admired from television, including the Monkees, of course. Worked with Mickey and Davy quite a bit. And, it was just one of those kind of things where I just thought that I kind of belonged with all these people. So I think I manifested hanging out with them, because why not? You've done that now. You manifested hanging out with all these people that you admire,
Right.
and now you do, because you just put your mind to it and says, that would be fun. Opportunities present themselves. So what do? You have a choice.
Yeah,
Take
Jake.
the opportunity or you pass. So I have to say I passed on a lot of opportunities, because at times it wasn't right for me, and others I got lucky. And again, it comes back to how lucky are you? I think you're pretty lucky.
I think I've been pretty lucky too.
Exactly. So then that's really appreciating the luck is really the fun of this. Once you start taking it for granted and you think I'm always lucky, then you get unlucky. So don't get unlucky. Just be happy that you're lucky.
It didn't work like that for me. I am just always lucky. Duh. AnaLynne.
Okay, buy me a lottery ticket, please. There's a lot of money riding.
Yeah, I'll think about that. Yeah, she'll think about that.
I'll give you the $2 on Tuesday.
Why Tuesday? What?
That's an old Popeye reference. I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a cheeseburger today. It's from an old cartoon from the 1930s.
No, the cartoon. My dad says that to me sometimes.
Well, Popeye is not just a restaurant. So,
restaurant? What are you talking about?
There's a whole Popeyes restaurant chain. They make chicken.
I don't know
But
anything about this. Is it good?
I don't know. I haven't eaten it. It's down south. It's anyway. There's a character named Popeye from cartoons, and so I
Oh, I
just threw
know
that.
Popeye. My brother used to want to be him.
Oh, really? Yeah, there you go. So that Tuesday reference has to do with Popeye and his friend Wimpy, who ate cheeseburgers all the time.
I'm already learning so much more than just about you.
I
I
could baffle you all day. I promise. I know I have more useless information than most people.
I'm more than happy to hear every little bit of it. Um, where are we in this book that I'm totally not reading questions out of?
I
So
thought she was reading. Oh, sorry.
where are we in this book I'm totally not reading questions out of? What you said when you were 14 and 15, you were kind of looking at the monkeys and thinking that was cool. So what were you thinking in regards to a career path that young?
Well, I thought that I had all the great, I could write great songs and stand on stage and be a rock star. Why
So
not?
here,
And a TV star. Of course, everybody thought so. But I enjoyed doing it, but what I learned was is I'm much better as a producer. Sometimes you have to think about what you're good at and what you can do well, as opposed to what your imagination tells you your ego should do. So my ego said, hey, you should be the front guy. I put together bands, I played, it was fun, but I got a lucky break when I went to a couple of rock festivals and learned how to be a stage manager. Um, I just went to a rock festival one day and showed up at the gate and got put to work working the gate, the front gate. Just this is like a long, long time ago, 100 years ago,
uh,
last century. But anyway, the the working the gate, then working the stage, and then working to produce the entire show worked for me. My brain worked well that way. I could actually visualize all the things that had to be done, get it all done. I was able to understand what the musicians needed, what the audience needed, what the rest of the stage people and the rest of the production people needed, and deliver on that. And so in in like 1973, and I don't know if you remember that because you weren't born, but in 1973, I got lucky again. And I had been a booking agent and doing some promotions around the Chicagoland area. And I got introduced to a guy who was the owner of the biggest ballroom in Chicago called the Aragon. And it's a famous ballroom. Led Zeppelin played there, the Grateful Dead played there, everybody played there. It was huge, but it had been kind of out of rock and roll for a couple of years. The owner hired me to put on a series of shows there. And so he said, oh, just book the bands you like. And I booked bands that most people had never heard of, like Bob Seger and Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes and Mike Bloomfield and Tim Buckley and this this guy Richie Havens and all these people. And then I got lucky where all these bands that were up and coming. I saw this band playing at a flea market on a hay wagon, and I hired them to be the opening act for Richie Havens because I liked this new song they had called Lady, and it turned out to be Styx. So I got Styx their very first big gig, and so here I have Richie Havens and Styx on the show, and nobody knows who Styx is. Richie Havens is good. It's $3 to get in, and I get a call from a booking agent, and he says, "I've got this band from England. They're on tour. They need that date. Could you hire them to play the show?" And I said, "Well, how much?" He goes, $500. I says, "Okay." It turns out it was Genesis with Peter Gabriel doing Taking England by the Pound. They're in 73 with all the makeup and the black lights and the whole works. So I put on a show with Richie Havens, Genesis, and Styx. And then I got Styx on tour with ZZ Top, and I was kind of like their booking agent along with a lot of other local Chicago bands like Hound Dog Taylor and the House Rockers and Hartsfield and Company. And then from that, I did a whole bunch of shows there. I started being a booking agent for other bands, like from California bands like the Sons of Champlin. And I got hired to be a booking agent in Wisconsin, handling groups like Styx and Star Castle and, who was formerly REO Speedwagon. I was booking REO Speedwagon and Head East and Star Castle and this new band called they were called Fuse, and they changed their name to Sick Man of Europe, and then they became Cheap Trick. And so got to work with all these bands through this time period in the early 70s, and moved to Madison, Wisconsin, where I was a booking agent, a concert promoter, a musician, had a record store, and published a newspaper magazine of the Wisconsin scene called the Mad City Music Sheet. And that's what I was doing. And that was before I moved to Boston. So it was a lot of things going on. I put myself in the middle of a scene, had a good time, got famous, but I didn't put it all into being the performer as much as a producer because it seemed to work. But I performed. I put together a great band in Madison, Wisconsin. The drummer at times was this guy named Butch Vig, who went on to produce Nirvana 10 years later. And he's in the drummer in Garbage. And, he's and along with they were all in a band called Spooner. Spooner was the greatest band ever, nobody's ever heard of. But Butch Vig was in it along with Duke Erickson from Garbage. They were in Spooner, along with this guy Dave Benton, who worked with me at the record store. So, and the keyboard player in Spooner was Jeff Walker, who also played in my band. So it was like a real great little community, Madison, Wisconsin in the 70s, of people who all knew each other, all played together, all helped to support each other, and built a marketplace for live music. And we broke Madison. I mean, Cheap Trick came out of there, and Garbage came out of there, and it was a pretty great scene musically. 7 nights a week, you could go see live music for $3 or something. It was always great.
I feel like I have the records of a bunch of bands.
Oh, look, Cheap Trick and Styx.
Oh my God.
And the Who are the best. The Who are the greatest.
Who doesn't love the Who? I mean,
only ignorant people. Sorry.
How could you not, though? I mean, is that like even possible?
Well, the Who is a big influence on me also. I mean, I've got my new rock opera out, and I think it all started. I think that was like the first record, Tommy, when I think it came out in 69. When Tommy came out, I tried to learn how to play all of that on guitar, which proved to me I was not a good enough guitar player, obviously, because that's hard. It's not that easy. But it was, to me, it was like a very influential record, changed my life. And I'm very proud to have released a rock opera last year that I think is as good as Tommy, but that would be it's not as popular yet.
You want to talk about your rock opera?
Oh, whenever, sure.
Let's hear about it. Tell us everything. I feel like I said a lot when I'm talking to you, but tell us everything.
Well, I like that. So it's interesting. I mean, the songs in the rock opera I've written throughout my whole life. You're probably doing that now. You're writing songs, but you don't think they're ready. And eventually, when they're ready, you'll complete them, and they will be part of something, whether it's an album or whether it's a rock opera or whether it's just a play live on stage sometime. But so I created a lot of songs, and I've always wanted to do something that's more than just write songs, release them. That's just not as much fun. Everybody does that. So it's interesting to me, of course, that I wrote this entire rock opera in a week. And it was the week that Donald Trump was elected president and was going to be inaugurated 1 week later. And I had been in total depression for 3 months, like so sad that this travesty happened and that this person was going to be controlling our future. So I came out of it, out of the depression, to just write songs. I wrote 8 new songs in that week, and I wrote 3 books in that week. And then I compiled them all, put all the songs in order, added some new lyrics that updated them, the old songs. Um, the 3 books were the story of beasties. Beasties are the human emotions. You all have good beasties and bad beasties in us. There's the bad beasties. We know them: narcissism, greed, hate, anger. You see them all in Trump. And the good beasties are empathy and kindness and happiness and all the good things in life that you don't see in Trump. So you could actually, there's a fine defining line between good and bad beasties. And the story of the rock opera about the beasties is that it takes an alien impulse to come to the planet and convey to the earth the difference between the good beasties and the bad beasties. And the alien comes to the planet in a rock concert by a new musician who's new to the public but has been around for 25 years playing out and has not gotten recognized. All of a sudden, he's got a new hit record, and now everybody knows who he is, and he's huge, overnight sensation, over 25-year overnight sensation. He's a big star. So a concert promoter comes up to his manager and says, I want to put on a concert with you in New York Central Park. It'll be a free concert. We'll have 100,000 people there. It'll be great. The guy says, sure, whatever. What he doesn't know is that the concert promoter sold a sponsorship to the evil politician who is going to use the audience to try and get the youth vote. And the evil corporate politician's name is Dick Trader, Don Trump, Dick Trader. Yes. So it's the same Dick. He's a dick and he's a traitor, so, and he's proud of it. He's very proud of it. So he interrupts the concert by taking over the concert. But what he doesn't know is what nobody knows, but the stagehand, who's kind of represents me, he's the production manager on stage. He is infiltrated by an alien. An impulse hits him. You ever wonder where an impulse comes from?
Do you know where? Do you have the answer?
Yeah, it comes from the universe. Universe sends that impulse into you. What does the impulse do? It changes you. It either affects one emotion or another, but it makes you do things. It makes you change. You have all of a sudden this idea. Where did that come from? I don't know. I just thought of it. Well, is that a unique idea, or did somebody give you that idea? Well, I don't know. So here's this stage manager who all of a sudden is infiltrated by an alien. So now he's schizophrenic. He's got both people talking to himself, and he's talking to himself through to something else that's talking to him, who now can read minds and who can also help manipulate other people. And so this alien is now in control of this person who takes a position on stage as a performer. So here is this band making their debut, and not 100,000 people, 250,000 people show up. And it's the largest crowd ever in New York. And they all have their cell phones out, and they're all, and so now it's being beamed worldwide. And this alien confronts the evil Dick Trader throughout the whole rock opera of 18 songs, and kind of puts the world straight again, puts Trader in his place, and the world comes out, so that we find out that there's that hope and kindness are much better than greed and anger.
I would like to spend a day inside your head. That's how did you do that in a week? Oh,
It was an impulse. I have no idea how it happened. It just flew out of me. I typed and did, even though for months I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't do anything. I could barely function. Luckily, I just put on my last show and didn't have anything to do until March, and January comes along, and I've been depressed for months since November 4th, and boom, it just came out of me, which almost made sense. I had to have an impulse from the universe to have me do that. So it's done. 2 of the books have been released. The album of 18 songs was released, and the 3rd book comes out in a month or 2.
Well, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I
I'll be happy to send you copies of the book and the CD.
really, me or her?
Yeah, her. You are her. She is you. Guku Kajub.
Wow. Wow. Okay,
You,
again.
you can you can listen to it all on the internet-y thing for free, because that's the way the internet-y thing works. It's like you put in all your effort, energy, and all your money into producing something great, but they want it for free. And then when they get it for free, they don't even want it. It's like, make up your mind.
Why are people like that?
Well, if I knew the answer to that question, I'd probably be Beyonce.
What? What?
If I knew the answer to that question, I'd be Beyonce,
What does
because she
Beyonce have
knows
to do with like anything?
she must know the answer, because they're all listening to her and they're
Why?
buying. Well, don't know. I really don't know. Same answer. If I knew the answer to that, I'd be Beyonce. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't even know who Beyonce was until like last week.
Well, that's good.
That's good. Okay.
No, it's very good. But now you got to catch up. You got to catch up. You got to learn all these new things.
It's so hard. It's like it's a lot of work.
I have a smartphone. Unfortunately, it has a dumb owner.
Oh, that's so sad. That's not true. It's not true.
No, it is. Trust me, I've talked to it. It tells me that.
Sometimes I talk. Well, it's not Siri on Android. What do we call that? I talk to Bixby. I think that's what we call it, and she doesn't like me so much. She doesn't understand me.
Maybe she thinks she's talking to AnaLynne.
What do you just call? It's AnaLynne. Thank you.
That's what I said, didn't I?
Is it? I didn't sound. I can't do it. I'm laughing.
You got to learn how to laugh as AnaLynne.
That's interesting. You know what? I can't. That's not good.
Can't?
No, I can't laugh
Don't
with
say
the mouth
can't.
shut.
Don't say can't. You just haven't learned it yet.
Okay, I have not yet learned how to do that.
So that's your next obstacle. Laughing like a puppet.
You just called her a puppet. Would
I was
you?
calling you a puppet.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm gonna accept that. Yeah.
You told me already that she's the ventriloquist, so I'm kind of saying you have to laugh like a puppet, because therefore,
What? It's all part of the act, maybe. Maybe my inability to laugh like a puppet is just what she wants. You ever think
I
of that?
think it's manipulation again. Yes, truly.
Manipulation. It's
Yeah,
a dictatorship around here, Gary.
right. It's another dictator.
Oh my God. Oh, okie dokie. You know, well, I have yet to look down at. She has yet to look down at this book. I don't even know where we are in this story of your life here.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's fun. Why don't we talk a little bit about your show that I was in? Why don't we do
You were super groovy.
me really? I think
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're talking about her once again. Of course. How did
I,
it start?
I started putting on pop culture and collectible shows because I buy and sell collectibles. And how do you get people to come to buy your collectibles? Well, you got to put on a show and you bring them in. So I started when I moved here to New England in '83. I kind of looked around for where I could sell collectibles, and there was really no place to go. And I had a little store selling records, but it really doesn't, it was too much work to get people to come to my store. So why not get a whole bunch of people together? And so I started going to a flea market that a guy was running, and I'd set up at the flea market, and about once a month go into his flea market. And then I asked him, I says, how'd you like to have a whole collectibles section? I'll bring in all the collectibles dealers and we'll have a little section and we'll market it. Okay. So we partnered for a little while and I did that. Well, in 1985, I said to him, I says, well, I think we can get more publicity if we bring in a celebrity guest to sign autographs. He goes, well, see what you can do. So I asked around people and I said, you know who would be really good? Adam West.
Oh my
You
God.
know, he was nobody at that time. In 1985, he had just been fired from being the voice of Batman on the cartoon. He had been a has-been and couldn't get work. So I wasn't playing on that because I didn't care. He was my hero when I was a kid. I called around some friends and somebody gave me his agent's phone number. I went, okay, I'll love to get Adam West. So I call up and Adam West answered the phone. My friend had given me Adam West's phone number. And I'm like, he goes, who is this? And I go, oh, Mr. West, I want to see if I can hire you to come and do a collectibles show and sign autographs. I'm not wearing the damn costume. I says, no, you don't have to wear the costume, sir. We would just be honored to have you, appear. And he goes, will I make any money? I says, well, yeah, you're going to sign autographs and you get to keep all the money. And he goes, well, how much? And I says, well, I'll guarantee you'll make $2,000, but it will charge $10 an autograph and you get to keep all the money. All right, I'm going to pay your airfare, hotel, food, everything else. Oh, okay. So he comes out. At the end of the first day of 2 days, he had signed 1,000 autographs. The line went on all day. There was never at least 100 people waiting in line, it seemed like. He looks up at me and goes, Gary, can we do this every weekend? I says, oh, yeah, we'll see what we can do. And so at that point, Adam and I developed a very great friendship. And for 35 years, we were really close friends. I had him at about a dozen of my shows. I connected him with my friend who was booking Van Williams, who was the Green Hornet, took on the booking agency, and we find this guy Fred to go on the road with him, and that was a long period of time of friendship. And Adam did his last show prior to his death for me. It was wonderful that he decided to come out. His agent called me and says, Adam wants to do your show. And I'm going, great. Oh, cool. But you got to bring Bert. I go, why? He never wanted Bert. Bert Ward was Robin in the show. And he says he's never wanted Bert at my shows before. He goes, he wants Bert. I said, okay. So Bert came too. So we had Adam and Bert together, the Batmobile and everything. It was just a fabulous show. And Adam and we had great time talking. By that time in 2017, I was kind of a has-been too. He was famous again for Family Guy. I mean, he just skyrocketed during the time period after going to the Comic-Cons. He all of a sudden became a star again. And I had quit doing Antiques Roadshow, so I was a has-been. I'd done 13 seasons on TV, and he was very proud of me for making my dream come true of being a TV star. And we shared laughs about, wearing our costumes and doing, famous, and then being has-beens, and then getting second careers and third careers and fourth careers. And we never knew he was sick or anything. And he says to me, Gary, this will be like the last show because I'm tired of traveling like this. I said, what are you going to do? I'm going fishing. I went, you're going fishing? You go fishing all the time. What's the difference? Just going to go fishing. I says, do you take a cell phone or anything with you when you go out there? Because he would go out trout fishing in Idaho by himself in the woods, so okay. And then the next thing we hear, a month later, he passed away. So it was just great that he chose to come back and hang with us. Our shows, as you experience, are family events. Everybody knows everybody, and it's really, truly friendly. The show you came to, Mickey Dolenz, my buddy Mickey, and I've known Mickey since 1976 when I met him when he was touring with Dolenz, Jones, Boyce, and Hart. And then Mickey had his radio show in New York. He invited me down to be on his show when I was on Antiques Roadshow. Mickey would have me come do his radio show because I still do psychic appraisals where people can ask what their stuff is worth on the phone, and I could tell them without even seeing it.
That's crazy.
So it's my gig. It's my shtick. Since I know the value of 100,000 useless objects, it makes it pretty easy to be able to tell people what their stuff's worth. So the gig on Antiques Roadshow kind of put me up into the status with my friends who I've known that were always in that status, like Mickey and Adam and stuff like that. So it was at the show, you got to meet Cherie Curry, who I met in 77 when I did the Runaways in Madison. So I kind of keep everything in cycles of, my friends help me, I give them work. We all kind of work together. But why I invited you up is because part of what the legacy of my shows and my producing is that if you don't give a leg up to the people who are trying hard with a good attitude, with a good act, whether it's high quality music or high quality anything, it's the attitude and the vibe of what you're doing or trying to do that makes a difference. So I've given lots of young people starts. I feel like if you don't, who's going to be the next person? Somebody's got to do it. Otherwise, we're going to be with nothing. So I thought for sure after watching you on all of your videos last year when you were younger and still really learning and experimenting, that you had a spark and that you needed an opportunity to sparkle around people that would appreciate it. So when I brought you up, I didn't know I was going to have everybody that I had there, but you wowed everybody that I had there. You wowed the guys from Megadeth. You wowed Cherie, Mickey, Michael DeBars. Everybody was enamored with you, and that you served the purpose that I wanted. You allowed me to showcase a young, aspiring weirdo and put that weirdo in with a whole bunch of people that are successful weirdos. And that's why it was very good to have you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my goodness. I'm so thankful that you let me come and be a guest at that show. That was literally like the greatest weekend of my life.
So far.
I don't know. That's gonna be tough to beat, man.
Oh, you'll beat it 100 times over.
Oh,
You
I'm
won't even remember most of the things in life. That's what happens when you get to my age. You got to count on the doll to tell you.
That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. I'm
Well,
gonna mess with her. Yeah, she's gonna mess with me.
well, of course. The good part is that you'll have somebody to talk to when you're old and you got nobody else around.
Yeah, my guitar. You're right. Excuse me. Or AnaLynne. Yeah. um, that was you just took me on a whole trip through the show, and I'm like, now I really missed that weekend. That was like literally the best. It was so much fun.
Well, I'm hoping you can come up for Thanksgiving. That's our next big show. We got one in 3 weeks, March 8th, 9th, and 10th, with the cast from Growing Pains, a show you never heard of.
I've heard of it.
Heard of it, yeah. But anyway, it's just like kind of it's a different generation, and it wasn't my generation either. So I keep playing to audiences that need to see their youth back in their face. So what's funny is your youth is Styx and Cheap Trick and Led Zeppelin, where that was my youth. What's wrong with us? It's like we can have the same youth and not be the same age. That's what makes time squooey. Because time doesn't matter when it comes to music and nostalgia and popular culture. It's what's inside here.
Wow, that was wild. That was wild. It's true though. I mean, most of my friends are a whole lot older than me, and we have a ton in common because we like the same, pretty much music. Music is such a universal thing. It's so beautiful.
It totally is. And there's some pretty crappy stuff too. But let's not.
This has been a full circle conversation.
We started with crappy music. We're going to end with crappy music. And you can play my record when you're done. Hopefully you'll tell me it's not crappy music. That's all. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
you can
all
go,
right. I
you can
hope
go to
it's
the
not.
go to the website beastiesrockopera.com and you can listen to all of the Beasties songs. It's free on Spotify and Bandcamp. You can listen. In fact, we even have it so that you can listen through Act One straight through as one track, because that's the way it was written, as one long 35-minute track. And or you can listen to it individually. Depends on how much time you have.
No, you gotta do it all the way through. It's what you do.
Yeah.
You don't start albums and then just like stop.
Well, some people like singles. There's some 3-minute songs and there's some 5-minute songs. There's a couple of 7.5-minute songs, but they all tell a story individually and together. And so I'm hopeful that you get it and that other people get it. If you get it, then I win because I've accomplished one. One is more than zero. One and
Two.
a half.
Okay. The point of that.
Because when you're talking to yourself, you're just another half. I'm only talking to you. She's the half, AnaLynne. Don't listen.
Of course, obviously, duh. Right, of course, obviously.
Obviously.
I just lost my train of thought, Gary. What the heck? I don't even
Hop
remember.
on the train, figure it out. Boo-hoo.
It was probably really funny. No, I probably thought it was really funny in the context that it was going to be set in, but now we're no longer in that space of time. So we'll just move on, won't we?
You can just edit, push the
We'll edit
pause.
it together. Yeah, and we'll pretend it's funny too.
Correct. We both. Anyway,
So funny. Wonderful. I was just watching a show the other night, and at the end, they say, it's funny. And my dad's, normally funny things, you don't have to tell people it's funny. It's interesting, isn't it? Don't you think? I think it is.
well, you watch reviewers and commentaries and talking heads, and they tell you whether that was funny or serious, and you're supposed to believe them. And why?
I don't know. Why?
It's a job. That guy got paid to do that job, to tell you that was funny. Now, do you want that job?
No.
Well, it's not as good a job as the weather forecaster, who can be wrong 50% of the time and not get fired. If you're wrong when it comes to a musical review, nobody cares.
That reminds me, sometimes we're watching the news and we're listening to the weather, and our meteorologist, as if he's our buddy, our meteorologist tells us what to wear and what to do. And there was this one time he told us to keep the potato salad out of the sun, and it really scared me. It's like, how do you know I have potato salad? How do you know it's in the sun? What do you know? It's technology. He's watching us.
Now you know that the camera is not facing the same way as you're thinking. You're always on camera. You're always on camera. Haven't you? You don't know? Aren't you paranoid? Come on. You're always on camera everywhere you go. You should always act like you're on camera all the time. One, so you'll be a good person. Because most people, if they think they're on camera, they're going to act nice. So if you always think you're on camera, you're mostly going to act nice. Secondly, you might do something really stupid. So if you think yourself always on camera and you do something really stupid, you have to act like, oh, I know I just did something really stupid, instead of acting like, no, I didn't do anything stupid. So if you think about it, you trip and fall, you act like you're on camera, and then you get up and you go, oh, I'm fine. Oh, by the way, I'm suing everyone. So you just know that you're on camera. So the comedy will follow if you always think you're on camera, versus tragedy that will follow if you always think nobody's watching.
Tragedy?
Tragedy, yes.
Why?
Because you don't know.
Huh? This sounds
Paranoid.
like
You're supposed to be paranoid. Yes, you're supposed to be paranoid. Welcome to America.
Oh,
You
oh
don't
my
watch
God.
the news? You're supposed to be paranoid. The world's going to end tomorrow. The sky
Oh,
is falling. Um, just be careful.
all like all always.
Always.
That's so scary, Gary.
Well, there. I think I just screwed up her acid trip for today. So there you go.
What? What?
What is the answer, not the question? Well, at least AnaLynne gets it.
Yeah, right.
AnaLynne, explain it to her later, please.
I thought you were gonna ask her to explain it now. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna have to do?
AnaLynne doesn't have enough words for that. She'll have to figure them out.
What?
That's the answer. Correct. Very good.
You know what? I'm really glad.
Yes. What? It's the answer. What?
I'm
Sorry.
sometimes I'm starting to feel like there's a lack of oxygen in this room, or
Well,
maybe
that's AnaLynne. She's sucking it all out.
it's what I do. Duh,
There
duh.
you go.
Word of
Duh.
the day. Duh. Oh man, wow. I don't even know what to do with these last 5 minutes. I don't know where in my brain I'm gonna store some of this. But it'll be there.
You
It'll
have it recorded. You don't have to store it.
okay then. All right, that's good. I think.
Just when you see your therapist, you'll just have to have it analyzed.
You're sending me to a therapist now. This interview is costing me like $500. What is happening?
Oh no, you need 10 appointments
And oh my God,
and you'll be fine.
I'll be fine. After the therapy, or
We'll
um,
see. I mean, that's why. That's why I booked you last year. So every year we can have you come in and we can see how fine you are and
thank
how
God,
demented you are. It's just a fine
progression
line.
of my brain deteriorating. Oh my God, what is happening?
I wouldn't call it deteriorating. I would call it expanding. Your mind is expanding. Every time you get more input, your mind expands. And if you don't accept the input, your mind will shrink. So keep accepting input. Keep trying to figure out what's what, because what's the answer, not the question. And you will eventually figure it out.
I'm so glad you think that. I'm really glad. I'm starting to get nervous about this November gig we're talking about. What am I gonna be like? I'm gonna be 17 by then. Isn't that crazy?
I think it'll be fun because I think a year later, year and a half later, from your first time meeting your public in a venue that's you're treated as an equal and not as a nobody. It's a kind of you already experienced it and you found out how to communicate to the right people so that you were respected. You've made new fans. You found a way to communicate with fans that you never had the experience doing before. So when you come back, you have all of that track record you can count on, that just basic knowledge of how to deal with these people, that you have 6-7 months to plan how you're going to entertain them. And that's writing good stuff, coming up with good storyline, do good sets of 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, so you feel very comfortable if somebody like a producer like me says, can you do 40 minutes? And you say, sure. What do you want me to do? I want you to entertain. Oh, entertain, huh? And then you'll figure it out. So you did it last time. You could do it this time.
Yeah, I think so. I'm really looking forward to it actually. That was like the weirdest thing for me. I'd never gotten up in front of anyone like ever before. So to be able to, and then I came home and then I was a lot better of a musician by the time I went home than when I got there the first day. Like I learned so much just from doing it. It was just God, it was the best, man.
You got confidence. You got some
Yeah.
confidence. I mean, to stand up on stage with Cherie Curry and do uh, Cherry Bomb, that just must have been a rush beyond belief because it sounded so great. The video's so great, and
It is, isn't
there, there,
it?
there
I
you are.
I was so nervous. I was standing back there and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm about to go with Shuri Curry. And then I remember Charlie Farron was standing back there with me, and I think he was kind of laughing. I think he kind of thought it was adorable that I was so incredibly nervous. I was like turning green. But then when I actually ended up there, I was just so happy. It was just the best.
It was joyous. And Charlie, you're lucky you got to meet Charlie. You know, Charlie's on tour opening for REO Speedwagon and Styx and Foreigner. He's their opening act. He does a solo opening act for all of those groups. He's out on tour constantly with them. You know, and again, that he's been doing that since the 70s. He was in Joe Perry's band. He was in his band. They had big hits here in New England back in the 70s, you know, and so, you know, you got to be surrounded by greats all weekend. And even Jeff Young taught you how to do things that, that, you know, musically advanced your mental state of music, multiples,
Yeah,
truly.
we're still doing stuff together. It's like I'm so lucky I got to make that connection, and it's because of you.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you too. And I think that you have legs, as they say in the business. Means you can run along, you can make shit happen. Oop, did he say shit? Yeah, he did. Oh, well.
My
Oh,
dad said a lot worse in front of me, and you know,
hey, I'm shocked I did almost an hour without swearing. That's pretty good.
is that true? Did you not?
And not once. I held it in. Again,
Congratulations!
I don't do that often or that well, but I did it. This is well because AnaLynne's a child. You can obviously tell that you don't want to say a bunch of stupid things in front of a child. You're not a child.
A child? Excuse me?
Just
Uh-oh.
just trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. You're not a mom.
And I am what?
Oh well, you got a point there. What are you? You're not a child anymore.
No,
No, your youth is past. You're an old lady now.
I didn't deserve that.
No,
Maybe
you listen to Led Zeppelin and you hang out with Megadeth. Come on, you're not a child.
that's not my fault. That's Jeff's fault. We have to blame it on.
No, I'm going to blame your parents. Now always go and blame the parents. It's much easier. Why should a child get blamed? It's the parents' fault. It's always
You
the
want to
parents.
elaborate on that? How? Let's talk about my parents. Let's.
Let's
So why
let's
is
go
it
to
my
your therapist. What did I say? 10 sessions of
10 lessons?
therapy? No, your dad was great. He was just right there, supportive. You know, I don't know
I
your
thought it
mom,
was his fault.
huh?
I thought it was his fault.
It
What are we?
is. He was doing he was great. I mean, I consider fault as good as anything good. What do you think? Fault is bad?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
like thinking, what is a question? What is the answer? The fault is not bad.
Are you okay? Should I
Yeah,
call somebody? Is everything okay?
I'll call my therapist.
10, oh, what did you call it? Lessons? 10 lessons? 10
And
sessions?
listen, I'll figure it out. Yeah,
Wow, this has been quite an adventure. We have one more question for you. Are you up for it?
I'm ready.
AnaLynne, what are your words of wisdom to the world, Gary?
I've been telling these words of wisdom for 40 years. Just remember, no matter what career you're after or what you want in life, that success begins with sucks.
What? What?
Success begins with sucks.
You want to elaborate?
Well, success begins with sucks, which means it sucks when you start, but you reach success when you add the S at the end.
Cool. I guess.
Do you understand?
Should I?
Yes. Say the word success without putting sucks first. You
Sis?
can't because success begins with sucks. It's language. When you watch this back 4 or 5 times, I'm not, again, can she say the word success?
Why wouldn't she be able to say the word success?
She can't laugh.
Oh, I see. Success.
And what did that start with, AnaLynne? The first syllable of success is what? Does she understand syllables? She's just a child.
What's the question again?
What's the first syllable in success?
Sucks. Sucks.
Very good. Sucks. It starts with sucks. And the second syllable is cess. So there's a 2-syllable word called success. Am I correct? Does success begin with sucks?
Yes.
Ta-da! And what's the answer?
What?
Exactly. What? Very good.
Um, um, do you understand what you just said?
Oh, yeah, I say it all the time. Whether
Well,
people understand me, I don't care.
I guess that's all that really matters, right?
I can say it all I want. It's just like a foreign language. Once you understand it, you understand a foreign language. And I'm speaking alien. And so if you don't understand the alien dialect, I'm so sorry.
Je ne comprends pas.
May we?
Ah, that was scary. I'm glad I said something that made sense.
Well, may we?
Okay. All
I
right.
guess that wraps that up, doesn't it? We've got you totally confused, and AnaLynne looks baffled.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody looks, sky is falling. Oh boy.
Well, that reminds me of that song Sky High. Don't you love that song? Do you know that song?
By who?
Jigsaw?
No, don't. I must know it. It's a hit. It was a hit.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
blown on sky high. Can you hear that? I don't know.
Yeah.
You're telling me a lie without a reason why. You're blown it all sky high.
I know that song.
Yay!
Jigsaw, huh? That's the people who did that. Yeah. That was a one-hit wonder.
Isn't it sad? I wonder what else they did. Do you know? You know a lot.
I know that they didn't do anything else.
That's so funny. I'm gonna have to do some deep research and see if they did anything else I like. I mean,
Yeah.
not known, but anything I like. You know?
They might have gone on to become famous.
Why didn't
One of the two of the guys, you know how the people just leave bands and all of a sudden they become stars
is that something that happens? What?
all the time. Look at the family trees of most bands and see how many people come and go and where they go and where they end up. And oi, oi, oi.
I'm so interested in this. I know I learned that Billy Squire was in a band before being Billy Squire.
Called
Like I didn't
Piper.
hear that.
It was a Boston, a Worcester band, Worcester, Mass, right from near where we were, 15 minutes from where my show is. It's Worcester, Mass, and Billy Piper was in Billy Squire was in a band called Piper, and Charlie Farron, I think, played with Billy Piper. And when Billy Squire, when he was in Piper, I can't remember who else I know that was in that band, but Billy's still around, and he had a career before and after. I saw Piper open for a band called Angel that was managed by Kiss in like 76 or 77, somewhere around that time period. I saw everybody. I'm old. I've gotten lucky.
Everyone?
Everybody, I didn't see the Beatles live, and or Hendrix, but I saw Led Zeppelin and lots of good bands. It
I
was a
can't
good
even
life.
imagine seeing Led Zeppelin. Like that's like the dream.
All I remember from the whole show was it was really loud, and I saw Bonzo playing his drum solo with his hands from where I was sitting.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Moby Dick with his hand.
That's so cool. What?
It was pretty wicked.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Now that we've concluded this interview, I have so much more to ask you. Like I
We'll do it again. We'll do this another time. We can do it again. I enjoy talking with you girls.
with me.
Yes, I did say you girls. I didn't say you old ladies.
I don't know what to do with that, Gary.
Take it as a token of my appreciation. Here, giving you a token, my appreciation. There you go. Got it.
Thank you for that. Goodness.
Giving tokens.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and completely bewildering me beyond repair.
Hopefully you can edit into something that's normal. Cut
I
out.
don't know that normal, but entertaining for sure.
There you go. It's happy to talk with you again. Hope to see you again soon.
You definitely will. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Peace
Thank
out.
you. Stay groovy.
You too.